Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my little vlog here. I had one of my subscribers actually comment on the last video wanting to know more about the trailer that I use. This is an Econoline 10-ton tag trailer. A tag trailer is short for tag-along, meaning it's pulled by the hitch that's affixed to the back of the truck, or it's like a bumper pull. We're going to start at the front of it and just work our way back through the trailer. I'll talk about stuff I like about it, stuff I don't. We'll explain the weight rating and how that works, and we'll just go through the whole thing. So let's just get into it. Starting at the tongue of the trailer, which the tongue is the part of the trailer that extends out from the bed and has the hitch on it. This is a pintle hitch, P-I-N-T-L-E, pintle. And it's a ring that's affixed to the tongue here. Some people call this a military hitch. I love this hitch, especially on a bigger truck. You want this ring to be similar in size to the mouth of your actual hitch here. Okay, this is actually the pintle hitch. I'll have to look it up. I'll post it on the screen. I can't remember what the technical term of the ring is, but that's what I call it, the ring. Again, it's a basic type of hitch, and it's got a double locking feature. So you've got to pull this up to unlatch it. Once that's down, there's almost no way for that to come up. And then you have this pin that goes through there and secures it even more. Okay, my trailer has the 7-way flat pin plug. This is the most common plug anymore. Some people call it an RV plug. On my truck, I've got every type of wiring connection there is, but this is your most common. So if you buy a new truck, make sure that it has this, because all the trailers are going to it. All right, moving back, this is your electric breakaway. This is connected to the truck, and if for some reason this hitch fails and your safety chains fail, this gets pulled out of this, and there's a battery. Let me just show you guys here. There's a battery in here that supplies power to the electric brakes. That's very important, because if it wasn't for the battery, there would be nothing to stop the trailer. And with a heavy load on this thing, once this tongue comes loose and digs into the ground, combined with that little bit of braking power, the trailer's not going to keep going. But when it comes to a rest, those brakes are going to hold it in place for a short period of time until the battery dies. The next thing we've got is the tongue storage. Almost every one of these trailers has this. It does have a lock, so you can lock your stuff. I keep a jack. Actually, I've got 2 jacks, a bunch of straps. I got my lifting strap in here, washer fluid, axle oil, just anything you want to put in here and store it. Typically anything that has to do with your trailer. I keep a 4-way lug wrench in here. So that's definitely something you want on your trailer. That way, if you leave the trailer somewhere on a job site or something, you can lock your stuff up, but also, if you're not bringing the same truck back, you still have the tools that you need to perform any maintenance or work that you're going to be doing. Let's move on back. On every trailer that you look at, there's a manufactured by. This is your spec sticker, essentially, and it tells you everything you need to know about this trailer. The most important one is your GVWR. That's your gross vehicle weight rating. This is your weight rating just for the trailer, okay? Even though this is a 10-ton trailer, they're classified by tonnage. Even though it's a 10-ton, its actual weight rating is 25,500 pounds. Well, why would they call it a 10-ton? That's because you have to subtract the weight of this trailer, which is about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds, from that 25,500 pounds. And that's where you get 20,000 pounds, which is 10 tons. So it tells you, you know, your axle weights, what each axle is rated at. This, and we'll be moving back there, it says here is 10,000 pounds per axle. So it also has your VIN number, so you'll need that when you get insurance if you're financing the trailer. It's a good idea to insure your equipment anyway, unless you have enough extra money that if somebody stole this thing, you could go and just buy another trailer and it not really sting or be a hit to you. I paid about $7,500 for this particular trailer, so that's a pretty good chunk of change. Let's move on back on this guy. A lot of trailers that are rated at 10 tons tend to have 2 separate jacks on each side. Econoline tends to build their trailers cheaper. This is one of the cheapest built trailers of this type. That's not to say it's not a good trailer, but this trailer right here has a single jack and it is a 1-speed. So if you have, I have unhooked it with the 20,000 pound excavator loaded, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to work and you're going to feel it when you finally get it unloaded. I do recommend, if you do plan on hooking up and unhooking with the loaded trailer a lot, make sure that this is a 2-speed jack. And a 2-speed jack will slide, you can slide the handle out or in between essentially first and second gear. And you put it in the lower gear and you can lift it if it's loaded. This one is difficult. You've got grease fittings. So look over here, pay attention. You've got 2 grease fittings here. This shaft goes into the jack and spins a couple of gears that drop the jack down. Keep those greased. It makes it a heck of a lot easier for you hooking and unhooking this thing, especially if you're loaded. Okay, the next aspect on these trailers is you want plenty of stake pockets, which is this little, hopefully you guys can see it, this little guy right here. Those are extremely handy because they have multiple uses. You can cut you some 2x4s and stick them in there, so if you haul a lot of pipe, you can have your stakes to hold the pipes in, and they're not going to just roll around, and it makes them easier to manage. Another thing that I love on most trailers is the chain spool. This is a round piece of pipe that's welded to the side rail, and then you got this rail that's welded to it, and you can pull your chains around that, and it makes it more versatile how you can do your chains. When I'm hauling a roller, there are 2 connection points on each side of the roller. I'll loop a chain to the roller, and then I'll go under this chain spool and run it straight back for another chain spool and chain to the roller. And these chain spools allow that chain to kind of slide along those rails, and you can just use 1 binder instead of 2, as long as the weight of whatever you are chaining down is 10,000 pounds or less. If it's over 10,000 pounds, you've got to have 1 binder and 1 chain to each 4 corners. So you want to make sure your trailer has plenty of stake pockets and chain spools, or one or the other. At least, you know, you want multiple connection points for chains and straps. Sorry about the wind noise, folks. It is a nice cool 45 degrees this morning here in beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. What I want you to see right here is something that people who are inexperienced in buying trailers don't think about, and they really don't know that you have an option, is the deck boards. Most of the cheaper trailers like Econoline, or, you know, trailer companies that are startups, they will use pine deck boards. Those are fine if you're only loading rubber tire or rubber track machines. But if you think you will ever haul a cleated steel track machine, you definitely want to make sure that you get oak boards. Pine is a soft wood. It is not going to hold up to steel tracks. And honestly, just try to get oak anyway, because oak will hold up, it lasts longer. I think that it's susceptible to rot. You may ask yourself, well, can we not stain the deck boards? I don't think so, because if you looked closely at this deck, it's got a bunch of little cracks from flexing. When you put a heavy machine on this and you make a turn or it gets out of level, the whole trailer twists. It'll flex, and it's meant to. If you stain this over a short period, it's going to flex and crack and open up, and water's still going to get into that wood. So these are treated boards, whether it's pine or oak, they're treated anyway, pressure treated. So staining's not going to make it any better. The biggest thing is the steel tracks. And even with my excavator, you know, even though it's not steel tracks on here, when I put that boom down at the back, it's crushing that wood every single time. So try to get oak boards, okay? If you're just on a super tight budget and you're trying to get started, pine boards are fine. And these metal strips are what's actually holding these boards down to this trailer. The boards are not screwed directly to the frame. So you can start out with pine, take these, you know, there's nuts on the bottom side, take them loose, this strip will come off, and you can redeck this trailer. It's some work, but you could redeck this trailer with oak boards. Let's move on back. All right, guys, so this is the deck of your trailer, the flat part. Now when it comes back and it angles down, this is called your dovetail. It gets that name from the bird, a dove. Their tail will, you know, work like that. So this makes it less of a height drop for the ramps. So start out at your deck, goes to dovetail, and there's stake pockets on the dovetail and chain spools. Let me drop this ramp down. You guys can see what we would do is most of the back up, but you can usually just step on a ramp and get it to fall on down. So this also has wood decking and a hold down strip there and here. If you do replace these deck boards, it's kind of a pain because you actually have to cut a notch in each board at the right angle, so these boards are held down flat. The one big issue with this trailer that I do not like and did not foresee coming when I bought it is these lay flat ramps. They're hinged in two places. One here connected to the frame of the trailer, and then it's hinged again. There's a helper spring right here. But this piece right here is what makes this a lay flat ramp. It allows this piece to flip up, and then it hinges here to allow this ramp to lay flat on the trailer. You may have seen some trailers driving down the road with these ramps sticking straight up in the air, and or they're at an angle, and that's because they don't have this piece. The fault with this trailer is that because this is hinged, when this is down and you get a lot of weight on this dovetail, if you are perfectly flat or facing downhill, this will rotate and it makes this stabilizer not work. Multiple times I've had to reach out with my boom on my excavator because this will turn and it'll flip the ramp straight up, and the weight of the machine will actually lift the rear end of the dump truck off the ground. Okay, this being an electric brake trailer, the brakes don't hold unless you're stepping on the brake pedal. So if you're alone, there's no brakes holding this trailer. So once this drops and all that weight picks up the rear end of the dump truck, it'll take off, it'll roll. The front brakes on a dump truck or semi don't lock when you set the brakes. It's only the drive tires, the rear axle. So multiple times I've had a truck scooting along and I'm still driving off the back of the trailer. If that's the case and you get in that situation, that's a point of no return. Just keep driving the machine. Once you get off of the ramps or you get onto these ramps, it's going to slow down, and then once you drive on off the trailer, the truck will stop. But it will scare the dickens out of you the first time it happens. And for that reason, the next trailer I get will definitely be an air brake trailer, because when you release the brakes, springs lock the trailer brakes. Another thing that I will do differently is I'm not going to do the lay flat ramps. I don't like that setup. I don't like the fact that it can move. I would rather have the ramps sticking up in the air, and they normally have a bar that's attached up here that when you lift this ramp up, there's a knob sticking out and you hook that bar, and that's what holds your ramps in place. So if your trailer has electric brakes and you are not in South Carolina or Louisiana, somewhere perfectly flat, you can chalk the tires and that will help. But if it's steep enough, you know, you just don't want to take that chance. I always try to park flat anyway, but here in the mountains of North Carolina, a flat spot to load or unload, good luck. If anything, I try to park facing uphill. I would rather unload facing uphill, meaning the truck is uphill. That way when you're coming off the trailer, these ramps actually have force pushing back that way. So there's something I didn't even think about putting in the video. Always try to be facing uphill. Even on, you may think you're on flat ground, and that's one of the times that this happened to me. I thought I was on flat ground. I didn't pay enough attention, but it was just enough of a slope for them things to kick up and the truck to take off that way. So it's a dangerous setup, you know, really, for hauling heavy stuff. But now that's a 20,000 pound machine. Now my tractor, I can be facing downhill anywhere and be coming off the trailer, and it's not enough weight to do that. So something to definitely take into consideration. Okay, the last thing we'll touch on about this trailer is we'll start with the suspension of it. It's just a standard suspension. It's a spring suspension that allows the axles to teeter-totter with each other. They're all connected by 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and this middle bar has a grease fitting in it, and that allows you to traverse uneven ground with this trailer. And it's almost like a walking beam suspension. They'll walk across a hump, but the bed will stay fairly flat. This is a tandem trailer, meaning it has 2, 4, 6, 8 tires, and that's what gives it the ability to handle 20,000 pound loads. The tires on these are just provider trailer tires. They're a cheaper tire, but I've had these same tires on here since they were new. I've taken it off road, I've taken it up gravel roads, and I don't think I've had a single blowout. So the tires that came with this trailer, I'm happy with them. They've lasted good. I think the other side, I'm getting close to needing to replace a couple. I wish I could tell you guys how many miles I had on this trailer, but it's a lot. The axles under this guy are Dexter oil bath axles. I like the oil bath axles. The only thing that I don't like about them is also the thing I like. They have a clear globe that goes over the end of the axle. That clear globe will get busted easily. But you can also easily see the level of your oil in there, which I haven't had to add oil to any of these, but you can also look in there and almost see, you know, the state of your bearings. If you had one that was getting really hot, there's a good chance you could see them kind of bluing or discoloring. but I have one axle, and I think it's the rear over there. For some reason, I've had to replace that globe, I think, 4 times. And what happens is, you've got the dome that you can see, but then there's a threaded collar that threads into the end of the axle, and it will crack right where those threads meet rubber O-ring, and it'll lose all its oil out. And that's one reason that your pre-trip is important. That every time I start and stop, I walk around, and if one of these gets loose and is leaking oil, it's going to look like a bunch of streaks of oil coming out around your wheel. Greased axles don't lose their grease very quickly, but it's also a slower problem. And axles that use grease, usually you'll start hearing a squeal, and then boom, they're done. These I haven't had any problems with as far as bearings. The race, and the race is, that's probably getting too technical for this video. I haven't had any bearing failures. The only failure I've had with this trailer is that one globe on that one side, and I'm thinking maybe I've just over torqued it, or it might just be that there's something going on with the threads. I have not had to replace it in a pretty good while, so I think I just got it torqued just right this time and got a good one. Maybe I just had bad luck. Maybe I had a bad run of globes. But I do like the oil bath axles, so that's something I would recommend. Drop it in the comments if you guys don't like them and why. But overall, the Econoline trailers are good trailers. They're the cheaper versions of you know, their counterparts. Big Tex makes good trailers. I've had 2 of those. But for you guys who are watching my channel and trying to get into this, this is a quality trailer. It's a good trailer. It's stout. It has yet to fail me. I don't have any signs of warping. It pulls straight. This thing pulls straight as an arrow. Doesn't off track, dog leg, anything like that. That's pretty much everything that I know to go over with this trailer. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments. Otherwise, let me again, as always, say, with this virus thing going on, you guys stay positive, keep advertising, keep knocking on doors, answer the phone, get your quotes as quickly as you can. Don't wait. Other than that, I'd appreciate any video ideas or questions you guys want to ask me, and I've got plenty of time to answer them. Tomorrow, we'll be getting back to the concrete retaining wall project. So you guys have a great Sunday. We love y'all, and we'll see you on the next one.